What's up, guys? Tyler here, and we got a special guest this week.
Hey everybody, I'm T Money, University of Pleasure Bay. I'm essentially, you can ask most people, I'm a man of few words and many actions. I like to lead by example. It's kind of my thing, you know what I mean?
Very few words.
I read on Facebook that you and Nick Jacobson are two of the best kite players.
So naturally Nick Jacobson was down, and I had taken the opportunity to say that he and I hold most of the records. It's just omitting some of the fact that I hold 0. But between us, we have quite a few. So.
Joop van den Brink? Am I getting that right?
Joop van den Brink, I think that's
Joop
one of the best guys.
I have a kind of fear for sending the kite with enough speed. How do I overcome it? Is it just a matter of experience? Experience for sure is always a big part.
Experience
but,
for sure. Like
but,
you expand your comfort zone like bit by bit, right?
Yeah,
it's never you can take a leap of faith, but on the water that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So you do it bit by bit.
Joop, I guess I would say to you is just go for it. If you eat it a couple of times, it's really not the end of the world.
A good way to kind of overcome it is you really want to be the one that controls the kite. If you can really take power and control over that kite, so if you're riding along the water, like a good thing to kind of practice, really like sign the kite really aggressively, kind of really in front of you where it's starting to yank you a bit, but you're really holding against it with your edge. And that'll kind of help you really to kind of understand how much edge to put against the kite as it's starting to pull you, so that you can take control over that. So when you send the kite, it's not going to pull you forward too soon.
And I think that's a very good point, Tyler. Like it's sometimes what I would tell people as well when how do you start doing a first kite loop, right? Well, obviously you're not going to do your first kite loop 10 meters up in the air with a 77-meter kite and 50 knots of wind, right? You'd start like sending the kite, S-ing it a little bit more aggressively, like pumping it, right? And you get that feel for that yank that the kite creates, and you do that a little bit bigger, and this is how you kind of expand and increase your comfort zone gradually and incrementally versus in one big shot. So work these little bits, and then another piece to kind of feel or feel that, because I think a lot of the fear comes from that you actually fear that the kite controls you versus the other way around, right? So a good way to kind of learn that is to do, if you're comfortable with this, do a couple of down loops, and don't try to resist the kite too much, but just go with it.
That's right.
Because you realize all of a sudden you just go with it, and there's not much. And then you start edging more and more as you do these down loops, and you get a sense for how much power this kite actually creates, but you also get a sense for, oh shit, I can control this, right? If I'm in the right body position, I can withstand that power. And so getting comfortable with the power that the kite generates will probably make you much more comfortable sending the kite more aggressive.
So next question came from Nale. So I have a Core GTS 4, and my question is, because it is a sea kite, to which position in the wind window have I to send it? We got a little video we sent from Instagram, and so let's just check that out real quick.
I'm interested in what the answer to this is.
So I think it's pretty very clear, actually.
Okay.
So
he was doing great though, right? But like edging up to it was all good.
He was edging up to it all good, but this is the one of the things that when we talked about the topic today, I knew we'd almost have to have two different conversations. One being boat kite, and one being sea kites.
Okay.
And
bridled sea kite. Should we talk about that? Because GTS 4 is a bridled sea kite. It's not a true sea kite.
But I will say
it's
this.
very similar to the Send.
We've ridden, right? We have the XF5s in the office, and we have GTS kites in the office, and they're very, very distinct in their characteristics and their jumping technique. And the GTS very much wants to be jumped like a sea kite. And what you see here in that video, you send the kite up rather slowly, and say the wind is blowing like downwind towards the camera. You send the kite slowly over your head, and then do what you used to do with a bow kite, sheet in the bar, and expect the same kind of lift. You're not going to get that from a GTS, from an Aris Razor, or from a North Vegas. What you need to do with these kites is send them much more aggressively through the window. So you turn the kite, as you hear, aggressively through. You hold the edge as long as you can, and then find that pop moment as the kite gains speed through 12 and back into like 1 o'clock. And that's when you kind of like get that loft. So you need to send the kite much more aggressively in that kind of scenario.
Okay, so hold on a second though, because I want to clarify something. So would you have it at the same angle as a bow kite? Like, so if you'd have the sea here, where would everything would be the same angle?
No,
Or
I
just the
think
timing?
I think bow kites you literally can go from 10 to 12,
Yeah.
sheet the bar in, and you
Okay.
get really, really good lift.
Relatively, depending on the kite, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but say you are really overpowered, right? There's this one jump from Patrick at Pleasure Bay where he literally sends it from 11 to 12 and just goes to the moon, right?
Yeah.
A sea kite doesn't work that way. I feel like you got to build a lot of speed, a lot of like tension in the lines, almost like in freestyle actually, and then send it aggressively through the window and pop, and then as the kite gets through the top part of the window, that's when you get the lift.
Yeah.
Next question, Andreas Baumgartner. As I understand it, it's important to have the kite in the edge of the wind window when you send the kite. This will give you a more vertical jump. I'd like to talk about this.
First of all, we have to understand what Andreas means by the edge of the window, because there's two theories, right? One means edge of the window to the side.
That's what I would think.
I think he means edge of the window.
What?
Oh,
Over
see,
your
okay.
head.
The edge of your wind window is always this, right? This is your wind window.
Yes.
That's deep in the window.
Yep.
This is your edge. This is your neutral zone.
Yep.
Oh,
so in
okay.
that
See, I
sense,
would have thought it was either left or
No,
right.
I
I
think-
wouldn't have thought that it covers the radius. Okay. So
I'm quite sure he means that.
He must,
And
right,
with that, it's a very simple answer, because the direction of your lines is exactly the direction that the force is pulling. So it's either pulling straight up or it's pulling you downwind. And this is, I think, where we very often see people say, but it was a huge and lofty jump. Yes, it was, but the force was pulling you downwind. You felt a lot of force, but it pulled you downwind.
Yeah.
You jumped 100, 150 meters downwind, but it wasn't that high.
Yeah.
And the high jumps are really almost sometimes the small ones that seem so a little bit like, not that big, but they're still up quick and down quick. Well, Andreas, if we got your question wrong, let us know.
No, but I think we got it right.
Revisit
Though.
it next
I
week.
think he's talking about this being your edge, and so the question is, do you, for the most, so, and then I don't know the answer to this. I think if you're going this way, your highest jump wouldn't necessarily be at 12. It might be just like between 12 and 1, right?
Yep.
Because if you bring it just to 12, you're leaving a little bit of that power out of it, right? Like, and so you want it to be boom, like a snap,
Yeah.
Julien, I was thinking about something that could be nice to add onto the Woo app. Why don't you create a window that shows all the badges and your progression to reach every badge? Because for now, we just have an email when we reach a badge. What do you think about it? I don't think it's hard to do, and it would stimulate people to reach every badge. I don't know. So when's the next release? I think Christmas, right? We're planning. Do you think we can fit this in? You'd have to make the designs, and you'd have to pass it on to...
We'll see. We'll see. For you, Julian?
No, I think it's a wonderful idea, and all this talk is about, yes, we're working on it. As you know, we'll roll out an iOS first. So if you have an iPhone, check your Christmas release. There'll be exactly what you're talking about in there, and we're working very hard to get this on Android soon as well. But genius minds think alike, so thumbs up.
No, that is an excellent idea.
And what's a badge?
Okay, so we
Two
have
types of milestones. 'cause
we've
you're on
got two types of milestones. One is just for pure jump height. So once you have your first 10-meter jump, you'll get a badge for that. 12-meter jump, you'll get a badge for that.
Yeah.
The other one is literally counting all your jumps in a session.
Okay.
And we'll add those up, and you can jump over the Eiffel Tower. You can jump over.
Yeah.
Do we have the Trump Tower in there?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
But I will say this:
Yes.
there is what was James Friesen? He almost made it up to Everest, right? I think he had 7.4 kilometers accumulated. So we have an Everest badge, which is for crazy people. Literally,
yeah.
I can tell you this: if I get the Cape Town, the Table Mountain badge, which is 1,086 meters.
That's a sword.
You know what?
The next day getting out of bed is not like this.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I've seen those badges out there, and I do think it's super cool. Hey, I jumped this or whatever. Or there's one of our friends just did the Great Wall of China. I think it was like Chris Alexander. So, oh, that's kind of a cool reference, you know?
Yeah. Wouter Hofstee-Holtorp asks, when will the series get to the stage of boosting towards the 20 meters?
Excuse me, I'm the 8-meter guy. I don't know.
I can jump 3 times the 8 meter, which is 24.
Yeah. The 20-meter guy, I mean, shit, you're talking 60-foot plus? Okay, yeah. We're going to send this out to the 2% out there that can do that.
No, but it's a good idea. I mean, maybe this is an
it is.
episode we can shoot in Cape Town with Nick, Joshua, and some of those guys, because they, they have the answers. What I will say though, like, I mean, every bit of the series is combined essential to jumping 20 meters, right?
Yeah. I mean, if this part's a struggle, I mean, this could be the tips that get you over the edge. All right, guys. Thanks for your questions. We'll see you next week. And next week we're going to go over bar position, approach, and takeoff.
Everybody out there, my shoes cost more than your house. I've spent more on spilt liquor worldwide than most of you bums have made in a year.
Now, can you please tell us where these quotes come from?
So Woo, I thought it was affiliated with Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, right? At WWE, he has something big to say. Woo! Right? And for the life of me, I really did think. I was like, wow, that is so clever, Leo. Did you do that? I was like, what? And so, yeah, and so those are lines from Ric Flair for some of the younger kids of a WWE flip. You should check them out. Iconic. Get into it, people.
Ric Flair.
Woo! If you're at the peak of your game, whether it's wrestling or kite surfing and boosting, you give it a woo. Woo!
Yeah.